So, how much of a difference does growth hormone make? This is going to be my anecdotal experience with HGH, growth hormone, GH, the good stuff. Something that doesn't harm you as long as you don't abuse it. Real quick, guys. This episode is sponsored by Modern Aminos, where you can get all of your peptide needs. Some of my favorite peptides are melanotan-2, TB500, BPC157, MOTC, and they have a ton of peptides, all legit. I've been using Modern Aminos for quite some time now. I really like the melanotan-2 because it makes your sex drive extremely high. So if you're looking for peptides, use my discount code. You'll get 10% off, all lowercase, PaxPerry, on Modern Aminos, and you will get excellent quality and service. And I appreciate you using my link because it helps me make more YouTube videos. Kind of like everything, but why growth hormone matters. As you age, past 30, past 20 really, almost everyone has a drop and decline in growth hormone and testosterone and probably thyroid as well. But the main thing that's very important, why do people age? Well, one huge thing is because growth hormone drops. You have lower energy, less recovery, worse sleep, fat gain, loss of skin elasticity, but pretty much just like people that are like in their 80s. This is not for everyone, but my grandma, for example, and my grandpa, they both passed away quite a few years ago, but they were very irritable. One of them had dementia, which I took care of her for like 5 years. And she was just always super irritated. Like, I think the main cause of that, before she got dementia, was because the growth hormone dramatically decreases over time, especially once you get past 50. And this is true just naturally aging. You feel worse and worse over time. So hopefully, I'm doing everything that I can to stay as young as possible and to stay as youthful as possible and feel good for as long as possible, be healthy. That is my number one goal, is to try to slow down that process. And taking growth hormone, I think, is the first step to dramatically improving that situation later on in life. But let's talk about how, from my anecdotal experience at least, how much of a difference growth hormone made in my life and to my physique. So about 8 or 9 months ago or so, I started using 2 units of growth hormone before bed with my BPC 157 and KPV, which I really like, also for recovery, but those are just peptides that scratch the surface. Growth hormone is more of a master key to your brain and to the other hormones trickling down and affecting how you feel and perform and how you look. So over a couple months or so, when I started using it, I increased it to 3 units and just stayed there because that feels like the right dose for me. And what I noticed was, like, after a couple weeks, I started like looking more veiny, like waking up with a pump basically, which is kind of interesting, kind of awesome at the same time. So far, like in the entire 8-9 months that I've used it, I haven't noticed any side effects besides when you first use it, like the first week or so, you might get a little bit of cramping on the hands. That's due to the IGF-1 being increased, and it kind of almost gives you a similar symptom of having like carpal tunnel syndrome. But don't worry, that goes away fairly quickly. If it doesn't, what I would do is just back down the dose by like half a unit or 1 unit and see if that improves. That's the only like starting side effect that I've noticed. I haven't noticed any long-term or other side effects from using growth hormone. I started looking leaner. I started looking more full, like the muscles just kind of like pop a little bit more. And if you're using other things like testosterone, which I am, it will make that testosterone go a lot further. So you can use less of the other harmful things and get a better result. If you're taking the dose like over 5 units, I think that's excessive and in the territory of potentially getting diabetes or prediabetes. So I would stay definitely under 5 units, but I haven't gone over 3, so I don't feel the need to. I just feel great on 3, and it helps me recover specifically. Like I feel a lot more recovered as far as like less soreness. I'm able to do a little bit more. I'm able to handle more like volume in the gym and so on. Maybe also able to handle like more emotional stress. I know some people get that effect where if you have like anxiety in the morning, taking like 2 to 3 units of growth hormone before bed, that anxiety might go away the next day. So you just feel like more of like a chill person, like more calm. It's nothing like the classic roid rage, which everyone thinks that you'll get when you start taking steroids. That's only true for select individuals, and if you're using like Winstrol or Trenbolone or something like that, or too much testosterone or Anavar, those are more associated with that, like roid rage type of issues. So you don't have to worry about that with growth hormone. It's not something that would ever do that. But it also improved my sleep. It really, I feel like I get more REM sleep, and I track my sleep with my Apple Watch. And over the past 8 months or so, the REM sleep just started getting a little bit longer each night. That didn't happen right away, but over time, it did help me sleep better. So that's good. If you can get more REM sleep, that's really the most important part of sleep, where you are recovering both your mind and your body, and you'll be able to just have a much better day the next day if you're able to get more and more REM sleep each night and deep sleep. Immune system. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but I haven't been sick. Well, on the contrary, I haven't been sick for a couple of years. So I feel like it's probably helping my immune system. I noticed better skin, a little bit better hair, so like the skin gets a little bit more smooth. There's like a little bit less wrinkles, although I didn't have too many to begin with, but I don't really want wrinkles. I know that's going to happen anyways, but it would be less likely to have more wrinkles if you're using growth hormone. The mental cognitive benefits, I don't really notice too much. All I notice is I'm just less anxious, and I have like more of a better, I guess, like calm state of being. So that's interesting. Anti-aging. So I don't think anything that you can take or supplement wise, besides training, working out, and doing this anyways, like no one should just start injecting growth hormone thinking that it's going to make them look younger because of that. Growth hormone is just a spark plug, like testosterone, but not like testosterone. You have to have a clean, whole foods based diet, training 3 to 6 times a week or so with weights and doing cardio like I'm doing right now. Just living, having like not putting toxins in your body like gluten and dairy, having a balanced diet, training, sleep. That matters the most. This is just going to further improve and act like a spark plug on all the other things that you're doing right. So for anti-aging, like I think that it will slow down the aging process and make me not like reverse age, but just keep me looking younger for longer. So that was kind of my main interest in taking growth hormone, was because I want to look younger for as long as possible. As far as the body composition goes, like I do look leaner. I'm able to have more of like a full physique with it. Like the muscles look more rounded and they do stick out a little bit more. It's not like a massive difference, but it's a pretty big difference from what I've noticed. And I'll show a before I used growth hormone picture and 8 months after I used growth hormone picture. And this wasn't using anything else on top of what I already have been doing for the last 5 years, which is my testosterone and BPC off and on. But BPC, I don't really think it doesn't make any difference to your physique. It just helps prevent injuries a little bit. But if you do have an injury, it does make that heal a lot quicker. But if you combine that with growth hormone, you have like a 10-fold experience in recovering. So that is my experience on growth hormone. I fucking love it. I will probably take it forever. Also, if you come off growth hormone, like I did a test to see if there's any like dependence on it. I came off for like 3 weeks after 6 months of being on it. I didn't notice anything. Like there's no withdrawals, there's no like dependence on it, there's no negative feedback loop like testosterone. So like for example, when you take testosterone for the first time, you have about three months or so to decide if you want to be on it forever. Because if you pulled it and you were only on it for 3 months and you stopped taking it, you wouldn't have dramatic like down regulation of your hormones and feeling like shit. And if you take it for more than 3 months though, for the testosterone, you're pretty much stuck on it for the rest of your life and you cannot come off. If you do, you just won't feel the same. Like I knew a guy that tried to come off after being on for like 2 years, and he just felt like shit, was really anxious all the time, could barely do work. That's not a good thing at all. So, and once he went back on the testosterone, he felt completely normal again. So with growth hormone though, you don't have that issue. There's no negative feedback loop. There's no dependence, so if you don't want to use it forever, like, you can pull it at any time and not have any life-threatening consequences to it. So if you're interested, and I'm going to be careful what I say, in using this, if you are one of my clients, I might be able to point you, wink wink, be able to point you in the right direction if you're interested in any of this. Besides that, all the peptides that I'm associated with, excluding growth hormone, modern aminos, discount code PAXPERRY, you'll get 10% off. They have BPC 157, HCG, KBV, NAD+, which I just recently started using. Fucking love it. And my favorite, melanotan 2, super high sex drive, makes you tan. But that's my experience. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.